made the progress, and positioned yourself for success. The reality is, talking about your goals can sometimes give you a false sense of accomplishment. You feel like you're doing something just because you're discussing it. But discussing it and doing it are two different things. One moves you forward, the other just makes you feel like you're moving. The more you talk, the more you trick yourself into thinking you're making progress, when in reality, you're just standing still. Silence isn't about secrecy, it's about focus. It's about protecting your vision from distractions, negativity, and unnecessary interference. It's about putting in the work without feeling the need to prove yourself to anyone. It's about moving with intention, discipline, and determination. The less you talk, the more energy you have to put into actually making things happen. And when the results start to show, you won't have to say a word, because success speaks for itself. Too many people lose their way because they're too busy watching what everybody else is doing. They spend hours scrolling through social media, comparing their progress to someone else's. They see people buying houses, starting businesses, traveling the world, and they start feeling like they're behind. They start doubting themselves, thinking they're not doing enough, not moving fast enough, not successful enough. But the problem isn't their progress, it's their focus. They're looking in the wrong direction. When you focus on your own path, you stop worrying about what everybody else has going on. You stop measuring your success based on someone else's timeline. You understand that your journey is yours alone, and that means it won't look like anybody else's. Some people might get there faster, some might take longer, some might take a completely different route, but none of that matters, because what's for you is for you. Comparison is dangerous because it makes you question yourself for no reason. You could be making real progress, taking real steps toward your goals, but the moment you see someone else doing more, you start feeling like you're behind. You forget how far you've come because you're too busy looking at where somebody else is. And the truth is, half the time, you don't even know what's really going on behind the scenes. People only show the highlight reel. They post the wins, not the struggles. They show the success, not the setbacks. And here you are comparing your real life to somebody else's edited version. When you focus on your own path, you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop feeling the need to compete with people who aren't even in your race. You stop chasing things just because other people have them, and you start chasing what actually matters to you. Just because someone else is doing something doesn't mean it's right for you. Just because they're moving in one direction doesn't mean that's the direction you need to go. The only way to truly succeed is to stay locked in on what you're supposed to be doing. One of the biggest mistakes people make is constantly switching lanes. They see someone else winning in a certain field, so they drop everything and chase that. Then they see someone else doing something different and they jump to that. They keep chasing trends, keep following what's popular, keep switching directions based on what looks successful at the moment. But when you're always changing lanes, you never build momentum. You never stay in one place long enough to master it. You never get deep enough into your own journey to see real results. Success comes from consistency. It comes from staying committed to your own path, even when it looks like other people are ahead, even when it feels like nothing is happening, even when you start questioning if you made the right choice. The truth is, success takes time. Growth takes time, but if you keep planting seeds and keep watering them, eventually they will grow. The problem is, most people quit. They get impatient, they get discouraged, and they start looking at other people's gardens instead of tending to their own. The only way to win is to stay locked in. You have to trust that if you keep working, keep learning, and keep showing up, your time will come. You have to remind yourself that just because you don't see results yet doesn't mean you're not making progress. Just because someone else got there first doesn't mean you're failing. The only thing that matters is that you're moving forward. When you focus on your own path, you also learn to enjoy the process. You stop rushing to the finish line. You stop feeling like you have to prove something to anyone. You start appreciating the small wins, the lessons, the experiences along the way. You start realizing that success isn't just about the destination, it's about who you become in the process. And if you keep your eyes on your own journey, you'll get exactly where you're meant to be. People are going to doubt you no matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're starting a business, chasing a dream, or just trying to improve your life. Somebody is always going to have something to say. They'll question your decisions, make comments about your progress, and act like they know what's best for you. The mistake most people make is letting those voices get in their head. They start second-guessing themselves, hesitating, wondering if maybe the doubters are right. And before they know it, they've lost confidence in themselves. Doubt is one of the biggest obstacles to success. But here's the truth. Doubt only has power if you give it power. Just because someone doesn't believe in you doesn't mean you're not capable. Just because they can't see the vision doesn't mean the vision isn't real. Most people who doubt you aren't doing it because they've analyzed your potential and determined that you can't make it. They're doing it because of their own limitations, their own fears, and their own failures. They're looking at your dream through the lens of what they think is possible, and that lens is clouded by their own insecurities. You can't let people project their fears onto you. Just because they don't think it's possible doesn't mean it's impossible. Just because they failed at something similar doesn't mean you will fail. What worked or didn't work for them has nothing to do with you. Everybody's path is different, everybody's circumstances are different, and everybody's mindset is different. You might be willing to do the work that they weren't willing to do. You might have the persistence they didn't have. You might have the vision that they never saw. And that alone can change everything. Some people doubt you because they don't want to see you succeed. They've gotten comfortable with where you are. And the idea of you leveling up makes them uncomfortable. If you grow, it forces them to reflect on why they're not growing. If you succeed, it reminds them that they haven't put in the effort to do the same. And instead of using that as motivation, they'd rather try to keep you where you are. They'll downplay your dreams, make little negative comments, and try to get inside your head, not because you can't do it, but because they don't want you to prove that you can. The best way to handle doubters is to ignore them. Don't waste your time trying to convince them. Don't argue, don't explain, don't try to prove your point. The more you engage, the more energy you waste, and that's energy that should be going toward your goals. Let them doubt, let them talk, let them assume you won't make it. Your job is not to debate with them. Your job is to focus, grind, and execute. Doubt is part of the process. If nobody is doubting you, then your dream isn't big enough. If nobody is questioning you, then you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. Every successful person has had doubters. Every person who ever accomplished something great had people telling them they couldn't do it. The difference between those who make it and those who don't is simple. Successful people don't let the doubt stop them. They don't take it personally. They don't let it discourage them. They use it as fuel. The most powerful thing you can do is let your results speak for themselves.